So these are the popular questions they ask about marriage and affairs. So usually you tell the marriage from the base of the little finger, the lines from the base of the little finger, but on the side. So what are the odds that I will marry and will I ever get married? This is the question. So the deeper the line at the base of the little finger, the better are the chances that they will marry. And the distances the years are calculated from the base of the finger down to the heart line. The heart line is taken as 50 years and the base of the finger is 0. And wherever there is a bold line coming out on the side, that at that point you take the section and calculate at what year, what age he will get married. How old will I be when I get married? So that's again explained from base to the heart line 50 years. Did I have an unsuccessful affair before the marriage? So did he have an unsuccessful affair? There are some light lines under the base. If they exist, then yes, those are unsuccessful affairs. Is spouse dominant or me? Or are we equal? Now this bold marriage line, it will tilt towards the mound of Mercury if the spouse is dominant, and tilt down towards the Mars heart line if the person is dominant over the spouse, and it will be parallel to the heart line if it is if they are equal in the marriage. How many kids will I have and at what age? See the number of small lines under the bold line of marriage. Those indicate the number of kids, and the age can be calculated at that from their distance from the base. Then arguments in the marriage. There may be a sharp cutting lines coming from the base of the finger, little finger from mound of Mercury, and cutting the marriage line. If that is the case, then it's a very argumentative marriage. So the continuing with the questions, at what age will I have children? So the children are the lines just below the marriage line, and from the base of the finger you calculate the number of years for the first child, and then the next smaller lines for the next children. And those are the ages at which they will come. Am I going to break up with my spouse? Now, if there is a bold line coming down from mound of Mercury and cutting the marriage line, there is a good strong possibility. So if there is a dark intersecting line on the marriage line, yes, there is a possibility. Whose fault is it if we break up? Again, that will go by who dominates. The person who dominates, that person will break it up. So the career is told from the fate line. So the questions on the career and fate line are like this. Do I have a strong career? Now, a deep and continuous line will show a strong career. Will I stay in the same job all along my line? Again, the deep and continuous line, no breaks in between, will show that you will remain in the same job for a long time. And at what age will I change the job? That is the point where you see the first discontinuity. And at what age will I change the career? Is the same question at the discontinuity in the fate line, or even offshoots from the fate line or bends in the fate line. Those are the points where the career changes. So at what age will I change the city? So many times they say that no, there is no change in the career, but they do agree that they moved from, say, one city to the other, the New York to California or something. So those were the points where within the job they will change the city. Will I work multiple jobs at the same time? Now there are parallel to the fate line, there are a couple of lines which indicate that you will also indulge in other professions than your main profession. The questions on Lifeline. Now, generally we don't take the predictions on life. It's not up to us. This is, and we don't want to say something nonsense and bias the person. But simpler things like how long is my life and do I have short life? A short life will mean short lifeline, and a long continuous line will mean a long life. And a life support line will give you longer life. Now, so we start the lifeline from the base of the thumb to down to the base to the going all the way down to the base of the finger to the palm. Then they ask you a question: do I have a life-threatening events in my life, and at what age? So these islands or breaks or serious intersections by other lines, these indicate those life-threatening events. And the age can be calculated again starting from zero from the thumb to down to the base. Will I survive life-threatening event? The surviving it depends on whether there is a strong line afterwards or a very weak line afterwards. And number two is if there is a life support line. So there are many questions on the headline. So one of those is, am I compassionate towards people? If the headline is not straight, like shown in this diagram, and if it is curving towards the mound of moon, then generally the person is compassionate towards people, a kind of emotional person, somebody who attaches to colleagues and associates, and not a ruthless dictator that is shown here. Number two, if the lifeline and the headline are attached to each other, then person is also dependent on his parents for that long period. In fact, a long association shows that person is highly dependent on the parents. So the sun line is the fame line, and the sun line usually starts at the base of the ring finger, and it could be a dark line, and it could come down all the way up to the headline or even down more. These people are famous. Then publications line is the line coming from Mercury to the base of the finger, base of the palm. You write often, and if this is not a continuous line, then maybe you have small publications from time to time if there are minor lines. Then investment lines, the publication line is also known as the wealth line and an investment line. So there is, it depends on whether, like poor people they won't have too many investment lines, but so they may be more likely to be authors. Then fortune line is the one which is around the lunar mound, and a good fortune line is very rare, and therefore this will be a very fortunate person. Then success overseas, the moon, the line coming out of the moon going all the way to Jupiter's or to Saturn, that is a line that shows that you will have success overseas. Then there is a girdle of sun, which again makes you very famous, and the girdle of Venus, which makes you extremely lucky, particularly with opposite sex.